two reviews at the same time. Welcome back to another cinema review. This is David B. Hepburn, and in this review, I'm going to be reviewing the new Superman movie directed by James Gunn. So this film is a complete redo of the DC cinematic universe after the massive failures that were Blue Beetle, The Flash, Aquaman. No one cares anymore, right? So now it's a complete reboot and it's starting off well. So let's see why it's starting off well. So we skipped the whole origin story stuff because we don't need to know about that, right? That's just wasteful. And we skipped to the part where Superman is defeated for the first time by a metahuman called the Hammer of Bavaria. And as a result, we get the iconic scene in one of the trailers where he calls Crypto and, every fans go crazy, right? Anyway, if you know the scene, you know the scene. So we skip over. Superman wants to fight more even though he's not fully recharged. Then we're introduced to Lex Luthor and all that stuff. And then we skip over to Superman going to Lois Lane's house. And it's revealed they're in a relationship, which is executed really well. But it then leads to a kind of a fight in the form of an interview gone wrong. So there's that. And it's revealed that Lois is not good in relationships, which, that's a little sad, but she'll find a man, right? And then, anyway, we get to the next scene, which is, he's fighting another monster. Then we're introduced to the Justice Gang, not Justice League, Justice Gang, led by a different Green Lantern that isn't Hal Jordan, played by Nathan Fillion. Hawkgirl, played by Isabella Merced, and then then Mr. Terrific, who's played by Eddie Gathegi, which I had never heard of until this film. And speaking of which, Superman is played by David Corenswet. Lois Lane is portrayed by Miss Maisel herself, Rachel Brosnahan, and Lex Luthor is portrayed by Nukes himself, Nicholas Hoult. So that's cool. Anyway, meanwhile, Lex Luthor hijacks Superman's Fortress of Solitude because he found it for some reason, and discovers a message and uses that message to gaslight people into thinking Superman is evil, which he later succeeds, and, everyone hates Superman, but obviously that's not what the message said. The other half was, distorted and stuff. So, let's see. So yeah, then he flees to Lois Lane's house. They have a little romantic conversation. And, she believes he is good. And he confesses his love for her. So that's good. So, yeah, they're obviously a couple now. And then, so it's revealed that Crypto has been kidnapped by Lex Luthor. And somewhere called the Pocket Universe. Where Superman later goes to, and we're introduced to Metamorphio, which uses his powers to form kryptonite. It's some form of interrogation, which, okay, that's cool. So then Superman flees to Jonathan and Martha Kent's house, who are his adopted parents. They have a talk, and then, Superman goes back because there's more trouble. And this time the Justice Gang is here, and, they're pretty cool. Hawkgirl kills someone with no remorse, which was surprising. And then we get the typical James Gunn adult-oriented comedy where the Green Lantern, activates a hand that pulls out, well, you have to see the film to know. So, and there's also these two characters called Jimmy Olsen, and who has a girlfriend called Eve Texmeister, or at least ex-girlfriend. He's now the girlfriend of Lex Luthor, but Eve helps out the heroes and then gets punished by Lex for it, and let's just say later on she gets back with her ex, right? That's pretty cool. And then we get a clone of Superman that Lex Luthor has made who is more powerful than Superman, but, turns out isn't. They later save the day, Lois and Superman fall in love, and, all that. And to be honest, for the first film in a rebooted cinematic universe, I think it was pretty good. I liked it. It had good merchandising. I mean, Dairy Queen was a surprise, and I liked the dog-related stuff with Krypto, who is obviously the chicken jockey of the film. In the good way, obviously. Oh, we also get a post-credits scene with Supergirl, who turns out to be Krypto's real owner, so we get to see Krypto again in the Supergirl film, which at the time of this review is going to be coming out next year, so that's good. So yeah, it was a good film. I enjoyed it. To be honest, it should have grossed more than it should have, at least $1 billion, felt like it, but had a good toy line, it was decent. Yeah, I recommend it. It's a good start. I have high hopes for James Gunn's cinematic universe, or at least the rebooted cinematic universe of DC. So yeah, that was another edition of Cinema Review. My review of Fantastic Four First Steps is also out at the time of this video's release, so check that out, and I'll see you in the next one.